What is up everyone, Parux here, and today I have another video in my How to Tank series. This time we're dealing with the Minimap, and you really want to turn on the Minimap features so you can see like the tank names and where the enemies were last spotted. That is super helpful in determining where the enemies are likely to come from, and it just gives you more information in general. So I have a pretty good replay here to explain how to read the minimap, I guess. So right off the bat, you want to look at the minimap, see where your team is going, and see where problems could lie. So there's 3 of us heading down to this J2 area, which is usually a pretty important like fighting zone in this map, because if you can control H3, then you have a pretty good shot of winning, because you can just snipe all their enemies that where you see they're showing up now. But that doesn't look like it's going to happen since there's only us 3 over here. Let's see, the majority of our team broke off and went down the A line. That's not typically a good place to push. I mean, it's kind of a stalemate, and it's just a lot of poking, and whoever pokes better and gets better RNG is probably going to win. So that's I'm not too happy about our team's spread there. Now you're going to see something here in a second that I want to talk about. The Artie, the T92 in the other team, when I poke out again, he shoots the rock. And based on that little like red circle thing, see, you can see like where that arrow was kind of pointing, and it looks like he's over at H0 or G0. Just if you like see where that little triangle is, and then if you line up your gun line with it, that's in the extended minimap features, you'll be able to take a rough guess as to where the Artie is, and then hopefully avoid it if he hasn't moved. So I just took a gigantic shot from the T49 there. That wasn't too good for my health. Now you can see that the 432 has left Trigger and I, so we're gonna pull out of here, because looking at the minimap, there's 2 of them here, possibly the M103, and there's only 2 of us, so it's just going to be a poke and shoot game. I don't really want to push onto them, they probably don't want to push onto us, so it's best to just leave and save our health. And what you can see now on the minimap is our team is pushing their team on the 8 line. That's probably not too good of an idea, because they're tucked back in there at D8, and our team has to come around the corner to shoot them. So me, Trigger, and this 432 are going to come around and try to deal with this E100 and the other tanks that are in the bowl. We know there's the 62A over there and the IS-7. They could potentially be dangerous. Since we haven't seen them in a little bit, they could try to drive around behind us, come up the 2 line. So we need to keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. And that's what you really want to do. When you have a little break like this, you're not really shooting anything, even if it's a quick look at the minimap, take a look at it and see where can enemies attack you from. And once you have that knowledge of where they might be attacking from, you can try to focus on like your current flank. So for instance, right now we really want to focus getting on this E100 out, and hopefully that 432 if he's still in the middle. So that way we won't be attacked from multiple flanks if the T62A and the IS-7 decide to come around. So I took out that E100 there, and now I'm going to focus on this 432, and Trigger's going to pull up and get a nice shot into him. So now that they're cleared out, see that there's nobody in front of us now, except for those guys way down there on the D line, but we can't do anything about that right now. We need to worry about where this T62A is, the IS-7, and the M103. Now the M103 could have went down the 9 line and joined those guys, but that's pretty unlikely considering that, well, there he is, but considering he hasn't been spotted in a really long time, he probably would have been spotted if he went down to join his teammates at D7, D8. And now this is beginning to become a problem, because there's some pretty beefy tanks down here, a full health IS-7 and an M103, and there's still a T62A that we don't know where he is. And we only have a Tortoise guarding our ice road. And there's, let's see, an IS-7, 430, E75, maybe 2 E75s and an E100 down there. So they're just going to push that tortoise and take him out right away. So again, like I said before, we need to see which part we need to clean up, I guess, on the minimap. So right now we need to take out this M103 and the IS-7. And you see me here, since I'm on reload, I took a look at the minimap, like, the T-62A hasn't been spotted for a while, so I'm just going to go take a quick little peek and try to see if he's trying to come up behind us. And I guess it's always good to assume the worst case scenario, and you'll tend to find more enemies that way. If you think, oh, the T-62A will probably come up behind us, and there he is. Since there was a gap in our forces, and he's most likely doing the same thing, looking at the minimap and saying, well, where can I go in and get into their lines? Now, I don't know if he was thinking that, because that was a pretty stupid move, just driving straight up like that, but this 430 is a little smarter, so maybe he was doing that. So I'm going to take my gun over here to deal with this 430. Alright, so now the cap was on, and briefly there you could see that it went from 3 to 5, so that means there were 2 enemies on the cap. While they finish that IS-7 up, what could be on our cap? It could be that it's probably the IS-7, because he was the furthest one along to kill the tortoise. And alright, here comes a T-49 across the bridge, and yeah, there's the IS-7. So it looks like the T-49 is going to take out our Conch GC. And notice right now, all the enemy tanks are somewhat in front of us. We're protected from the arty here, and there's no enemies behind the F line. And that's a good thing, so we only have to fight on one flank, and we can focus all our firepower over here. Now, once this IS-7 is taken out, hopefully we'll be able to be free to move a little more. Alright, so one E75 drove around, came up at E3. Now the E100 is way too slow, most likely. I doubt the E100 would drive up the A line and into our cap. So I'm going to bet the other E75 is over there in the cap circle. And now our 432 is heading over to their base. So hopefully he'll be able to find artillery, distract them so we can be a little more aggressive out here. And alright, he finds the 261. And I'm going to go out and kill this E75. The T-49 has appeared. So I'm going to try to shoot him. Unfortunately, he takes me down real low and the arty fires at me. Great. Alright, so the T-49 is not on the cap, and we're being capped. So that means there's one tank over there, since the capture bar is going up by 1. Probably the E75 again. We haven't seen the E100 in a while. I don't believe he was spotted very much when he was down in the D8 sector. So we'll have to see if we come across him. And at this point, Trigger informed me, while he didn't take any damage, he got hit by something around the G5, G6 area, over by that rock on the other side of the little valley. So that's going to be the E100 over there. So we know where he is, we know where the T-49 is, and I still think the arty is over in H0, because that's where I got hit from again the second time. So now it's just more of a cleanup. I'm staying back over here by this rock because I don't want to get hit by that E100. I doubt he can spot me, but just in case, since Trigger told me that he was sitting over there, we need to be somewhat careful. So since the T-49 went back and is attacking the 430 now, Trigger's going to come back and we're going to try to go attack this E100. Now since he is on the other side of this valley, we don't really want to drive all the way around, so we're just going to go straight across the middle, and Trigger's going to go in first so he can take a hit if the E100 decides to pop out. And since the E100 hasn't been spotted a while, we know he's over there somewhere. But it's been like a minute or so since Trigger got shot. We want to be super careful going over there since we don't have any idea where he is really now. So I'm going to wait for Trigger a little bit, and then I'm just going to dart across the valley. Whenever I feel that it's safe enough, where the E100 had time to shoot trigger, but he didn't take any damage. So once he gets about halfway, I'm gonna go, because I mean, almost full health E100, 2/3 health E100 out in the open. I would take a shot at that if I had one. So it doesn't look like the E100's around, so we're just gonna fly across this valley here. And now that the 430 has the T-49 and the RD occupied, we can focus all of our efforts on taking out this E100. And that's another thing that you really want to look out for. Like, what are teammates doing, and how are they distracting enemies? I'm gonna wait for trigger a little bit here. And he was turning his turret around because maybe the E100 went all the way around and came up the 2 line. Alright, there he is. So this guy's pretty much dead because I have 3 shells left, and trigger's just gonna take a hit for me. So whenever the E100 fires, he'll be dead. Just gotta wait for him to do so, and there we go. Alright, I'm gonna unload my clip into him, and then pretty much we are gonna go hunt down the artillery. So I skipped to the end here just because who doesn't like a good artillery killing? I hope you guys learned something about how to read the minimap. If you have any more questions, comment in the comments section or PM me on the official forums and I'll be able to answer your question there. Anyways guys, if you've enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, I'll see you next time.